Dude,
Dude, we're gonna show these listeners, man, because I think this is what we're gonna get into. Is I think
exactly.
everything we've been told, like cognitive dissonance, to understand it, and it hurts, and it's hard for people to kind of like take it in. But I'm talking like your teachers, your coaches, the politics, all these people, like how they tell you to grow up, what to do. I think you flip it on its head, and then you live good. In today's age, he would be in nirvana, because if you have dope things, if you look presentable, you can have as many crazy sexual experiences as your heart desires. And Floripa, now I've been kind of being a madman and being wild, and this is kind of my little vacation, I'd say, before I go back to Europe in the spring. And I kind of feel disgusting saying this. Okay, 2 months, more or less 30 women. It's one every other day, and it's that abundant here. You know what I mean? Obviously, being a gringo helps, but it goes into all the other shit like I talked about. Have decent style, be presentable, know some game, get on every dating app. You know what I mean? Use it to streamline abundance. Being open with your intentions or what you want. Like, here's the thing. Here's the problem I think now is like, it's like we shame sexual people. You know what I mean? Like, I love beautiful women. I love feminine energy. I love having sex. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think if you're honest about it, like I am with every girl I meet, that there's no problem with it. Because like, here's what I think of like feminine energy in woman is basically, it's amazing being on the beach, with a bottle of wine, relaxing. But what enhances it is a beautiful woman right next to you. You know what I mean?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Foreign Strategies. Prepare for takeoff.
Yo, what's good, fellas? Today we have a very special guest, my man Nick from Bold Perceptions. He's here today to give us a little background on him as well as his channel. He's currently in Florianopolis, Brazil, so I'm definitely very jealous. But I'll go ahead and let him start off with his background as well as talk a little bit about his channel.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, Mr. T-Bob. We had a good little interview with you, what was that, a couple weeks ago? Because I actually was trying to find some content on Floripa before I came here from Italy. I've been in Italy last 2 years. And the only English stuff I could find was from you. So I'm like, oh, who the hell is this guy? And then I look him up. I find the Instagram. I message him. Very friendly, very kind. He even offered me his bike. He's like, yo, I left a bike there. If you want a bike, have it. I was like, geez, who is this guy? And then I started watching your guys' content, and I was like, oh shit, this is right up, my alley, living the kind of the foreign lifestyle, dealing with women and whatnot. So I'm glad to be here. What is my background? Okay. I've been in real estate since I was a little boy. I'm a part-time professional athlete, a podcaster, an international playboy, freedom fighter, and adrenaline junkie. I'd say I love to live outside the comfort zone. I love to do both tenant, and I think I've been like this since I was a little boy. And I was at the beginning of this shit, we were talking about kind of like how we grow up, and we're told to do all these different things by the politicians, the teachers, the coaches. Everyone's saying, hey, go down this path and do this. Like, it depends on the person, but I think for the most part, we were sold a load of crap. And I think it benefits people and it pacifies other people. But to really get the most out of life, depending on what you want, is to figure yourself or find mentors that you look up to and you want to get to that level. And that's one of the reasons I started Bold Perceptions, is to connect with like-minded people that I can learn from, that I can connect with, that I can network with. And it's been very good.
So what type of content are you pushing on Bold? Like, what are y'all talking about, essentially?
Okay, so we started this, 2.5, 3 years ago? It was actually when I was in Copenhagen, and my teammate, he played for the Jags, and he started doing the Euro football thing. Des, shout out Des. He showed me a lot, and he really brought me into like the travel lifestyle. And at first it was about like, two Americans in Europe, because we're going to go travel together, see different things. We had two different perspectives. I grew up in Minnesota. I'm white. He's a black dude from Florida. So we're trying to like see things from each other's perspective, and because a lot of racial going on around those times, and we thought it'd be kind of cool to, anyways, it kind of turned into more of a networking, leveraging tool for my personal business, and they say like podcasting is therapeutic, right? And you get to meet these people, you give them value, they give you value in return. And now I'd say it's about living bold. It's about people who do bold, whether you're a 9-to-5 person that does some bold, or you live, my co-host likes to say like this minority lifestyle, fast lane life that I live. So it's been amazing. I've met great people like you, T-Bob, and I hope to continue to do it. My big plan is to make it like an umbrella and all my personal shit underneath, incorporate it in a tax-free country, and use it as a way to get around some things. So,
how many countries have you lived into? Where have you all lived?
Okay, so Minnesota, then I was in Colorado, then I was in Copenhagen, then I was in Bologna, Italy. Then I was in Mexico, Playa del Carmen, the Riviera Maya. Then I was back to Italy. Now I'm in Brazil.
So how's dating been overseas versus back in the States?
Yeah, I kind of plugged it on. I'm going to plug Bold Perceptions again. Me and you talked about this, about the differences between the women. Again, I think Scandinavia really, okay, here's the thing. So Des, who I started this podcast with, 6'4", 230-pound black dude, right? In Copenhagen. He was like, I heard stories because he was there but year before, or the 2 years before, that like for 40 days, it was a different girl every night that came to the house. You know what I mean? All off just like Tinder and dating apps. I mean, that's a thing like nomad capitalists, go where you're treated best. But when we took the trip together, we did like 8 countries in like a month and a half in the summer. And that's a dude who really kind of like blew my mind with like what's possible, how to manage so many women, like how to have that sexual like ability to do all that. And because everywhere we went, there'd be a new girl, and they would all be like holding hands, they'd be loving it. Like the dude was just a freaking Casanova. And like before, when I was younger and I grew up with the, what you've been told, right? The Disney fairy tale, all those different things. I'm like, managing more than 2 girls was crazy. I just talked to one girl, and that'd be my girl. It's not like I didn't get laid. I was a quarterback, and I had that kind of image. But when I saw that, I was like, and then I became very much like that. But okay, the differences, is that the question?
Yeah, let's go differences. What would you say?
I like to go a little tangent. So if I keep going, you
oh no,
stop
you're
me.
good, man. It's good. It's perfectly fine with me.
Okay, so American woman, I don't want to date. I don't want to be with. I don't want to see. I know that sounds harsh. It's just not my flavor anymore. I think, like we talked about before, dating in America is terrible. I think it's like, I think women have like stepped into the masculine role or tried to do that, and it doesn't excite me at all, and it's quite sad. But so I came back to see my family a couple of times in these last 3-4 years, and I still had fun. I had fun with them, but it was just like a weird feeling. It wasn't like the romantic feeling. It wasn't any sort of like good emotions. It was just like, what's up, dude? Oh yeah, let's have sex. You know what I mean? It was just not. I didn't like it at all. You know what I mean? So Scandinavia, the men and women are very equal there. You know what I mean? So which I think is great. They pay for their drinks. I pay for my own, which is amazing. And what's great about them is if they vibe with you, because they don't want to keep vibing with you, and on the third day, you guys have sex and there's no sexual chemistry there, which I think is wonderful, because I think that's a huge part to any sort of relationship, whether it be monogamous or polyamory, any of that stuff. You need to vibe on all ends. Sometimes I think, if you have sex first, it kind of ruins things, but honestly, it just shows you their true colors. I think that's good. You know what I mean? Why waste any more time? Let's just get it over with and see if we totally connect. So that's Scandinavia. Do you guys have some comments on that?
I know Delane does.
Yeah.
Delane,
well, I almost got married to a Swedish woman, so and I lived in in Gothenburg. So I'll say that I remember talking to a whole bunch of Swedes, and they say my name. They always say my name like Delaney, and my name is Delane. But that's how they pronounce my name. And I'm talking to them, and I'm like, yeah, I'm taking this girl on a date, blah blah blah. They're like, yo, that's not how we do it. We don't call it dates. Like we have sex first, and if we like the person, then we hang out with them, do fun stuff, and it just blew my mind. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So that was like a big culture shock.
Be looking forward to it. What I really like about Scandinavian women in general is that they are open, but they also are very like intelligent people. So you can have like
Yeah.
conversations with them. And that's something I truly like, is to have intellectual conversations with everyone. And if you just look good, I mean, outside of the bedroom, it's like, what are you doing for me, right? It's literally, what are you doing for me? So that's a big plus with Scandinavian women, and their version of like feminism is very different than like the States, right? They actually truly believe in being equal. In the States, it's like, okay, we want to get paid the same, but we also want the man to still pay for the dates. So it's like it's a very different environment. So I'm definitely looking forward to actually going out there. I've been to Copenhagen, but I don't know. Copenhagen is Scandinavia, but
International.
I don't consider it the same as like Sweden, Finland, Norway. I feel like it's so much different up there. Would y'all say, or is it very similar to Copenhagen?
I would say
I don't know.
Copenhagen. It's much different
Yeah,
than
that's right.
Sweden.
That's why I get that vibe that it's more Europe in Copenhagen.
I think it's definitely international, but I went a ton of Sweden. I was in Oslo. I've seen the mainland of Denmark, and to me, Scandinavians I think are very similar. I mean, obviously Copenhagen's international, but if you get just a little bit outside of Copenhagen, or not just like, in fuck, I can't pronounce any of the names there. I do remember two words though: "tak," thank you, and "skål," cheers. But I know, I think it's really similar. But you make a good point with this whole feminism thing, and a lot of these Danes, they're like divorced, or they have like kind of multiple partners, or relationships are different there. But I think it can work so well is because the Scandinavians, they have like transcended individualism or selfishness, and they really care about the community. You know what I mean? That's why they have free school. That's why they have it's clean everywhere, free free healthcare. You get paid if you don't work. So I think because there's a sense of community, it's fine if you don't have a wife with you, or a family. You know what I mean? Because your family is the country. They really actually care about each other, which is, to me, there's nowhere else in the world that it's that like developed or leveled up civilizationally. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know, like in Sweden, I had a friend of mine that was Canadian. He actually got a visa, whatever you want to call it, and marriage is not as big as it is in America. They have this law of you can cohabitate, and you get sponsored by the woman. And if she sponsors you, that means that she takes you in, and that allows you to be able to stay in the country, and then you have the same move around, like the same like laws, the same permit to move around like a Scandinavian. And I was thinking about doing that because I was like, oh, I'm gonna get married, but I didn't even have to get married. All I had to do is cohabitate with a Swede, and they just sponsored me and cohabitate, because there's like a cohabitation application you fill out, and she says, I sponsor you. And if I live with her for like, I think it's like 6 months to a year, then I'm considered a citizen or something like that. And then I'm not quite sure the laws anymore. I forgot.
Do you actually have to like work there and stuff like that?
Yeah,
Work
I think
online.
what it is that, yeah, it's more so on the person that's sponsoring you. They have to prove that they can be able to sustain both of you.
Okay.
They got to be able to prove that it's economically can happen to like keep you guys maintaining. And it's more of a burden on the person that's sponsoring you than yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. Immigration is no joke.
Yeah.
Immigration's no joke there, because all the benefits they get. But I'll tell you what, you should have took that, because you would have had benefits forever, and you would have never had to do anything again in your life.
I trust me. I wasn't thinking it like that, but the marriage was like it wasn't about love. It was more about she wanted to have access to America, and I wanted to have access to Sweden. But where
Perfect.
we messed up was she liked me more than I liked her. And she saw me out dating with other people, and she was dating with other people. I didn't care. But then she started, you know, taking notice and was like, wait a minute, hold up, hold up, hold up. I don't like this. And it just blew up in my face. And unfortunately, the short story is that it just didn't work out. But in the long
Okay,
run,
that's yeah.
I would have had
That
all
that
that.
that 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 poly life, having multiple girlfriends, that's what I do. And I think honesty is definitely the key. Every time I meet with a girl, I say, hey, this is what it is. I have multiple girlfriends. I'm very sexual. This is just how it is. And you'd be surprised. Doesn't matter if they're 18 or 46, if they're a lawyer, if they're a student, if they're anything. If you be honest with women, just like if you're honest with a dude, people respect it. And I mean, me and T-Bow were talking about this at the beginning, like people shaming like sex, or people shaming like playboys or guys that like want multiple women in their life, is like, if you just step into it and say, yo, this is who I am, how can you not respect it? Because I think deep down, a lot of people, especially men, this is like our biological imperative, is to spread our seed as far as it goes. Like monogamy was introduced like with the church before. So for
Yeah.
every like 17 woman, or for every 17 woman, one man produced.
Yeah.
Like the survival of the fit, the genes, the tough guy, the alpha, spread his shit. But to your poly situation, here's what happens. They're fine with it at the beginning, and I think they like it. It turns them on that you can attract, other women, and that you are with other women. So you're not jealous. You have abundance. Like this is your life. You're on your own mission. You know what I mean? She can tag along. She can enjoy it with you, but you're going this way. But as it gets going and going, they slowly want more and more, and then usually it comes to a point where it's like, hey, I found this guy and we're going to be monogamous, and that's just what it is. And but then in the future, that usually ends and they don't forget about you. You know what I mean? But the long-term multiple girlfriend thing, you got to be fine with letting go and just saying it is what it is. Otherwise, you have to cash in all your chips, and then she wins subconsciously too. She's like, oh, I got him to just drop his whole life for me. And usually this means when you give up everything for somebody, they dislike you more, because it's like, oh, like you gave up everything. Like, really? Just for me? But this is psychology. This is persuasion 101. You know what I mean?
So you've been living in Florianopolis for 2 months, right? You were in
Yeah.
Mexico for a little bit. You've been living in Europe for a good amount of time. If you had to choose, right, Latin America or Europe for dating, quality of life, X, Y, Z, where would you choose?
Well, the greatest place in the world is Italy, La Dolce Vita. The clothing, the food, vino, the scenery, the history, the girls. Italian girls are not the best, but they're amazing, passionate. If I had to only pick one place in the world to live, it would be Italy. You know what I mean? But the situation going on over there, all that kind of crap. I like warm weather. I mean, Brazil is amazing. I love here, okay, because I'm actually reaping the benefits of like a paradise, but it's super cheap, but it's also safe in Floripa. You know what I mean? I think Brazil is amazing. The only bad thing here is language barrier, which is, if you are kind of have some experience traveling, you can get by just fine with Google Translate and vibes, even dating women. I mean, of the 30 we talked about, T-Bob, 15, 18 of them didn't speak any English. But sometimes, and I've said this a lot, is some of the best times I've ever had traveling have been with someone that can't speak English. Because there's more like you're outside of your guys' head. You're in the vibe together. You're enjoying each other's company. Your body says more than your mouth can ever say too. So that answer the question?
Oh yeah, great answer, great answer. So Italy, number one. That is a very surprising choice. I never would have expected that. Out of all the places you've been, that Italy would be number one.
Dude, there's Italy is like I remember when I played Rome Total War. Those little computer games you build like the empire.
Yeah.
And I would do that like during class. I didn't want to pay attention to any of that stuff, and I just fell in love with Roman history. You know what I mean? And then it got into the medieval times and all the kingdoms and the papal states and the barbarian invasions, and then the Byzantine. there's just something magical about like when you step where Caesar stepped, where Augustus was, where all these great people were that built this like civilization that was thousands of years ahead of anything else. And I think even today, what they did in some parts is better than what we have now, the Roman Empire. Like that's how amazing that atmosphere is. You know what I mean? You can feel it when you go there, when you take the train, and you see the Italian landscape, when you walk down the alleys, when you get your aperitivo. Italy is a movie. If there's any place in the world where you feel like, you know, you're in the movie, it's Italy.
Would you say Italy gives you that growth mindset, or does it give you more of that laid back kind of retiree
laid back? Yeah. It's but I do feel really creative there. So I do feel really, but it is like, yo, this is as best as it gets type feeling. Like I'm just gonna enjoy this. Like this is you know, all the great people through history have, you know, either been brought up here, have done their work here, have visited here, have admired here. So it's just kind of like taking in like what's bigger than you. You know what I mean? Like I got a pretty big ego, and I think that can either destroy you, consume you, or you can use it as a tool. But when you go here to these places, you're like, holy shit, like I am nothing compared to what these great people did and what they built and whatnot. So it really humbles you and it makes you take it in.
That's true. Have you been to Sicily?
Oh yeah, all over Sicily. Yeah, I love Taormina, and my favorite is Ortigia. It's the ancient city of Syracuse. Great thing that happened there. I was actually on Airbnb. So Airbnb for short stays, okay. I don't think so anymore in Europe. I think you get hotels. That's what I did the last year because I think Airbnb is overpriced now. For long-term stay, only when you go there for the first time. After, go find something on the ground. But so I was looking on Airbnb to stay in Ortigia because this is where like Archimedes worked. I mean, this is like where the Carthage, like they all attacked, and it's a famous city, the ancient city of Syracuse. And in the city, it's like a little island, right? Everything was 150, 200 euros a night. But there was this one place for 20 euros, and it looked like amazing. You had your own room. It was right next to the cathedral. It didn't have many reviews. So I'm like, you know, is this a scam or whatnot? And it was this old grandma, right? Obviously didn't speak English. And so I just booked it. I said, what's the worst that can happen for 20 euros? You know what I mean? And so I go there and she's like, yeah, so to get the keys, like I won't be there till like later tonight, but Fernando that works the green smoothie stand outside the building will get you the keys. And I'm like, what? Like, so Fernando's gonna bring me to this building. So I go to the cathedral. The stand is right next to it, and I'm like, Fernando, ciao, Fernando. And he's like, oh, Nick. And he's like, come here. So he takes me around the corner, you know, right behind the cathedral. Opens the door. It's a huge building, right? It's a huge building. So I'm like, okay, you know, maybe I lucked out here, right? We go to like the top floor, and there's only one room on the top floor. So I'm like, okay, what's going on here? He opens the door, and it's a like monster room, like six rooms, a huge like living room, big kitchen, balconies everywhere. And I'm like, okay, what is this? And he's like, yeah, just go wherever you want. You can stay anything, anywhere, do what you want. I'm like, okay. And then I messaged the girl. I'm like, are you sure I'm at the right place? Like, I'm in this huge place. She's like, yes, I'll be back like in an hour. So she finally gets back. I'm just waiting there patiently. And then she's like, Nick, you know, broken English and Google Translating. She's like, yeah, my, you know, husband died a few years ago. So I've been here by myself and I'm so happy you're here. Like, I'm so excited. Take any room you want. I'll make you breakfast every day. If you want lunch, dinner, you let me know. I'll do your laundry, all this stuff. So I'm like, ended up staying there for a week. It was amazing. I love traveling when you meet people like that really do special things.
Exactly. Those are the type of stories you remember, man, forever. For absolute ever, man. But what would you say, just based off, so what was your age you started traveling like this? Like, when did you first start?
Well, shit, since I was young, I did all the sports around the USA. You know, we go to Mexico and Canada and shit as a family. But what, 22, 23? 23?
Okay.
So yeah, 3.5, 3, yeah.
What would you say, like, how have you changed? Like, what's your mindset now?
Totally. Like going back to those original points, I mean, and you said this too, T-Bob, like exposing yourself to new ideas, to new cultures and all that. You get to really find what makes you like tick. You know what I mean? And not what you've been told and not what, the movies you watched as a little boy, or the books you read, or what the teachers told you to do, and how you should act. And when you go yourself, and when you're alone, because a lot of the time I just do solo traveling, right? When you're alone, you get a lot of time to reflect, and then you say, oh wow, I really like this, and this excites me, because you're in these different places that you've never seen, with different people, with the different languages, and it makes you like look at everything differently, right? Because you don't have the same autopilot routine as you are, back in the States, or back where you're from. So you're like thrown into the chaos, and from that chaos is where you get to like build, who you are and what you want to be, and what kind of woman you like, what food.
Okay. And would you say, since you started like traveling a lot, would you say you like the US more, or do you like the US less ever since you started traveling more?
I think when everyone first starts traveling, like outside the US, they're like, oh my God, why don't we do this? And wow, like maybe America's not the best. And wow. And they start saying, oh, I hate America. Like they tell all their European friends, America, and the Trump's so bad, and we don't have health care, and they just bash it, right? And I think after you keep doing it more is when you're like, oh, okay, like, wow, I'm glad I was born here for this amazing opportunity. I'm glad how friendly, Americans are. I'm really grateful I have this delusional confidence that Americans have. I'm grateful for all these things. Yeah, we could, fix this, and this would probably work better in America. But in the end, and for me right now, like I am beyond blessed and grateful to be born in America when I was born in America. I've said it before. I think if you were born in the last 70 years in America, you literally got a lottery ticket in the history of humanity. And that you can't tell me no different. Even if you're black, yellow, brown, whatever, if you were born in America in the last 70 years, grateful.
And why is that? Pinpoint two things.
The amount of opportunity, the delusional confidence, the just the outlook on life Americans have. Like, pull your bootstraps up, the individualism, like take your life into your own hands, or at least like what it used to be, like the ideals. But I think we're still kind of brought up like that, or at least our generation was. But not many other places in the world have that. So many places here, like, this is how life is. I'm only going to make $200 a month. Like, I'll enjoy it. They do, like the Euros really enjoy their life, but they're so like, they don't see like big picture, and they don't care, and they don't like have any sort of motivation to do it. And the only people I really see that from, like on a general scale, are Americans.
So do you think that's changing in the US, like the pride aspect of being American? Because nowadays are almost scared, especially minority Americans are scared to like promote being American. Like, for example, I see a lot of people from like Italy or Colombia or whatever, they have like their flags next to their name on their Instagrams, etc., like showing pride for the country. But in the US, you don't see that as much anymore. There's not as many people promoting the American flag, etc., because it's kind of been demonized in our society. So are you also seeing that as well, that there's people are kind of getting away from being prideful for being American? And why do you think that's the case?
Yeah, I mean, this is conspiratorial, and I recommend everyone that's listening to read the book How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World by Harry Brown. Because before I read that book, I was really angry, and I was, on 4chan and reading books, and oh, this is bad, this is wrong. But there's no question there's an all-out attack on like America. I mean, I think they've been sucking the country dry ever since like taking off the gold standard, even though that did help us. Like it really did, if you think about it. But I think it's been slowly chipping away. Our manufacturing got sent to China. Our middle class is under a full-blown assault. And I don't know if it's a mix between, the Chinas, the Russias, the Illuminati, or the people that world. Yeah, there's like a total like psyop on the American people to divide us into Black Lives Matter, to LGBTQ10, to middle class, poor class, city, suburbs, Republican, Democrat. It's an all-out divide to conquer us, because you can't conquer America like traditionally. You would never last. There's 500 million guns. Even if you take out the greatest military, biggest military in the history of the world, you have 500 million guns and guerrilla warfare in a massive country, right? So how do you destroy America? You destabilize it. You split it up. You balkanize it. You see California trying to succeed. You see, the southern states, we'll do our own thing. Like, that's what's happening. And anyone that is not brain dead can clearly see it. Know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And would you say that's a good thing or a bad thing for the world if the U.S. were to essentially fail?
I mean,
It's
like
pretty.
how I look at it is the pendulum is going to swing, whatever way it swings, my one voice, one person is not going to stop the pendulum. So you might as well figure out how you can benefit from it. You know what I mean? And do I think it's a good thing? I mean, probably not. I'd rather be under American imperialism, than China or Russia or some other crazy people. Know what I mean? But whatever is going to happen is going to happen. But I'm not going to sit alone. There's a great thing that the Nomad Capitalist shared about the January 16 thing, right? The insurrection, right? But on the other end, it was like freedom fighters. The people that believe that they're fighting for the Constitution, correct? Just like in Afghanistan, we call them terrorists, but they're freedom fighters.
Yeah,
they liberated themselves.
Yeah.
And so these patriots, right? Whatever you want to call them, I don't care. Now they're in prison. They thought they were doing the right thing. They're all going to get 4 or 5 years. Their leader got, I think, 5. At night in this prison, at 9 o'clock at night, they all start singing the Star Spangled Banner together. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, like, where would I rather be? Here with this $20 room that's right on the beach with beautiful women everywhere doing what I want, trying my hardest to spend $1,500 a month, or would I rather be in a Washington D.C. prison singing a Star Spangled Anthem at 9 o'clock every day?
Exactly. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Yeah. Definitely agree with you there at all points, man. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, right? It's only so much we could do. Only so much we could do is besides show our lifestyles and show that we pretty much have this lifestyles because of our passport. There's so many people I know around this world who literally cannot go anywhere without a visa. And it really makes me extremely mad when Americans complain about the things we complain about when they don't realize what these other people around the world are going through. So it's sad, and especially like places like here in Tulum, there's a lot of Americans doing the same thing. They come here, they complain about how bad the U.S. is, et cetera. It's like you're in Tulum, one of the this first.
You're living in a bubble. It's
exactly.
A bubble. It's
exactly.
LA. It's LA.
It's LA. Yeah, it's an extension of LA. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's the world we live in. Humans are never satisfied. So
let me make a point too on that. I was dating this beautiful Eva Mendez, Mexican, in Playa del Carmen. She's working there. She's from the north, so she doesn't, in the Yucatan, they're more native, right? So they kind of more shorter and unfortunately bigger. They have like that Coca-Cola addiction. This is a real thing, right? And so the northern Mexicans, this is weird, but there's a caste system still in Mexico. It was put in place a long time ago, but the whiter you are in Mexico, the higher up in society you are. That's a fact. I mean, we talk about racism in America. Mexico, it's a laid out caste system, basically. It's crazy. Anyway, so she's from the north, whatever. Beautiful woman. I think she was 27. Told me she'd been with, I was the third guy she had been with, right? So overall, like a Catholic Mexican girl, beautiful girl, smart. So, she didn't speak great English, right? And so I would always have to speak to her really slow. And for like the first month we were seeing each other, I'm like, okay, she's just like a bimbo. Like, yeah, you're beautiful, but like, are you stupid? Like, I can't even speak to you, right? Anyways, my buddy, he came down. He speaks Portuguese and Spanish. And I'm like, yo, I need you to talk to her. And like, is she as dumb as I think she is? And he's like, okay, I'll talk to her. Within like 10 minutes, he's like, Nick, this girl, she's a lawyer back home, but she came down here to get a better paying job. She blew me like I couldn't keep up with like her intellectual, whatever. And the whole time I'm treating her like, yeah, like, let's go to this bar. You want a drink? You know what I mean? And I think that probably worked in my benefit, right? Because like I wasn't treating her like everyone else. Yeah. Anyways, the point of the story is, like I said, the beauty, the brains, all that. Girl, a manager at this company that supplies like hotels all over the Riviera Maya, right? Furniture, designing, all that. Works 6.5 days of the week, 6.5 days of the week, like 12 hours a day, makes $1,000 a month.
Exactly.
That girl in America, well, first of all, she'd probably be getting flown to Miami every day. You know, she'd be making a shit ton of money on OnlyFans if she did it, or she'd be married to some rich guy, or even corporate America. She'd be making at least $200,000, you know, a year.
At least better surfing in Florianopolis. The biggest waves I've ever seen were in Florianopolis. They were like scary. It was Jesus Christ. Those waves are huge. So
you know what's trippy too, though. You know what's trippy too, though. Mexico, you get everyone that harasses you. You know what I mean? Like, yo, they'll try to sell you left and right on Fifth Avenue.
Oh, Fifth Avenue, yeah.
Dude, Florianopolis, barely anything for me. Barely anything. And if they do come up to me on the beach, I say no obrigado. They just go. And like Mexico, it's you can't look at anyone, you can't do anything, you gotta walk straight. And I hate that because then it turns my mood bad. You know what I mean? Like I want to be friendly with people and get my vibe right. But in Mexico, I have to go.
That's the biggest downside of Mexico, man. You're just a walking bank to these people. Like
it's literally overload, bro.
I mean, like, what is the top country for the most beautiful women? Like, what would you say?
I mean, it depends on what you like. You know what I mean? Like
for you,
Eastern Europe, Slavic women are the models. The tall, the jaw, the attitude, the eyes. We've also talked. I think I was talking to you, T-Bob. Like, I was dating a Belarusian girl in Rimini. She's working in Italy in the summer. They all go down there and work wherever. And dude, they will make your game so much better. But before they do that, they'll turn you, who you think you're a man and Mr. Cool Guy, into a little fucking boy. They play you like a fiddle, and you have to be like, because you know, in their countries, dude, the dudes are like extremely masculine. Like they'll slap you up, they'll do all that kind of stuff, and so they're used to that, right? You got this nice little American boy who's, you know, used to normal stuff, and they'll play you like a fiddle. So those women are obviously like beauty, amazing. I don't think they're the best in bed, honestly. Like, my opinion. Italian woman, I love. Like I pretty much have she's mad at me right now, but a girlfriend in Bologna still, and like their intelligence, their you can speak to them about like Renaissance literature, the Greek, the language, like the old Greek, Latin. Like they're like super smart. They have style up the ass. You know, Italians, they all dress amazing, and they still have that fire. You know, that Latin fire, which is amazing. Some of them are out of this world beautiful, but you know, if you want to talk about like straight beauty, like, yo, Brazil has been insane. Like, you know, like I've said, I've, you know, been with a handful of like 40-year-olds that are looking, I mean, like they're 28, like amazing. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And then obviously, if you like curves, there's no place like Brazil.
Yeah, bro. Florianopolis is. And have you been anywhere else outside of Florianopolis in Brazil?
Just across the bridge, but all I've been doing is going around the island because there's a lot to see here.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I definitely. Delane.
Huh?
What's your top places? I don't think I've asked you this question. Yeah.
For women?
Since we've been to Brazil.
Oh, since we've been to Brazil?
Since we've been to Brazil. Is Brazil your number one? Or is
before Brazil, I would say Vancouver, Australia, and Scandinavia was like my top 3 because in Australia you would get an African girl with an Australian accent.
Jesus.
And she'd be a model.
That'd throw me off.
And I would just, I would melt, yo. And she's like really feminine. She got the Australian accent. And she got a different culture. She is like, not only she has that Australian culture, she might be from Kenya or Ghana. And she just built different than I've ever experienced. So that's one thing. Scandinavia. If it wasn't for the weather, it's just very cold. Like it's like similar to New York and New Jersey. It wasn't cold 9 months out of the year. But once it's warm,
depression.
Yeah, they have like I had to actually when I was living there, I had to take pills to keep me from being depressed, even though I wasn't. I'm not a depressed person. I'm a very easygoing person. I'm a very like you, T-Bob. You see how I move. When we was in Brazil, you saw how many girls we were going up to. I'm a people person, right? So when I was there, I was taking these pills. I'm like, why do I need these things? So I was like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna do what you guys do, right? So,
Happy pills. That's what they call it.
Oh, yo, that's a point though. My bad to cut you off. So everyone told me, and I read the stuff that Scandinavia is the happiest place in the world. You know, the little statistics and all that. And like when you first get there, it's like, oh yeah, free this, free that. You know, the people seem pretty happy. But the longer you live there, you see like the rotten core. They all drink nonstop. They're all on happy pills. Like the littlest things, you know, because they have no other problems. They don't have really any bills. They don't have education, student loans, healthcare stuff. About the littlest things, and I'm like, this is happiness to you? Like Brazilian people so far have been, you know, I haven't lived here for as long as I lived in Copenhagen, but they're way poorer. They have way more problems, but it's like human nature about something. And when all your problems are taken care of, littlest things.
Yep, exactly. Yep, that is all they're doing. Do these when they have these like surveys is they're just doing a checklist. Okay, healthcare is taken care of, education is taken care of, this is taken care of. Okay, this equals happiness. This is the happiest country in the world. It was funny when Finland was the happiest country in the world, it also had the highest suicide rate the same year. It's like,
come on.
All right, yeah, makes a lot of sense, but okay.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I don't believe any. Like, and the more I live this life, like I don't believe anything. Like everything I was taught, I flipped it on my head, and it's like, oh, so the real world's a lot different than everyone says it is. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think it's sinister motives. I think we've all been lied to, like the Matrix. You know what I mean? I think we're all in these little Matrix. If you live outside of that comfort zone, the more and more you like take your head. But I'm telling you, we've been lied to from everyone.
Exactly. And the key is to not start your own matrix, right? What I see going on kind of in a tribal community as well, we're creating our own matrices. We're saying like, oh, these places are so wonderful. They're so this, the women here are perfect, etc. And then we get there and we realize, oh, snap, these women do the same things American women do, right? So you still have to go there prepared. You have to go there with gang, go there with XYZ, because at the end of the day, nowhere you're going to go in this world is perfect. Nowhere is perfect, right? You just have to know every environment is different. You got to move differently in each place you go to. So that's why I really promote guys to like do your research, right? Do your research, watch our content, and listen, right? Listen to what we're trying to say, because what me and Delane really try to do on this channel is not push narratives. There's so many people pushing narratives, right? Because narratives get you views, get you likes, people will cheer you on. But at the end of the day, that's not what I'm here for. I will limit our growth to tell the truth, right? Like I know what to say. Like if you go on the channel, Foreign Strategy channels, the number one video on the channel with the most views is when I'm just pushing. I'm pushing like everything's perfect, everything's this, everything's that, right? But at the end of the day, that's not the case. That's not the case. And
people don't like the truth.
People don't like the truth. People will hate you when you tell the truth. People are going to call you names, this, that, and this, because they're used to being told fairy tales. The world is used to being told fairy tales.
I'll tell you what, though. I honestly think now, and I think it was when Trump got elected, something in the universe ripped, or maybe it was 2012 when the Mayan calendar switched. I think reality as we know it now, and all the clown work shit that's happened in the last fucking 5-10 years or since that Mayan thing, I don't think there is a truth anymore, though. I think you find your individual truth and you go that way, because your truth is way different than mine. My perspective is way different than yours, you know, bold perception. So you need to find what fits with you. And seriously, if it makes you happy, and if you're happy, whether this is a 9-to-5, whether this is living my lifestyle, live in that bubble then and be happy. Now, if you start having problems, you need to put more things in the bubble or put that direction somewhere else. You feel me? But I don't think there is a truth. I really don't. I think perception is reality. And I think you need to find your own truths.
Yeah, that's true. At the end of the day, it's all about perception. Glass can be half empty or half full. Simple as that. And that's the way you got to live your life, man. And I like that. I like that you put perceptions at the end of your name. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
People can't argue against that. You can't argue against somebody's perception. It's like,
oh, they can. They do.
They're still gonna find. Of course. People they're gonna nitpick everything you say. But at the end of the day, there's no logic behind arguing against somebody else's perception.
Delay, I watched your video about you getting played by that Australian chick, because you brought up Australia before. And I think this is like a key for the audience or the dudes listening to this. You cannot invest so much energy into one woman. You know what I mean? Like, you need to have, like I was telling T-Bob here, I set up 2 or 3 dates almost every day. On the weekend, I have 4 or 5 plans ready. So if one ditches, okay, that's fine. I don't have to worry about it. I'm not about it. The next one I meet, oh, we're not doing well. Okay, hey, have a good rest of the day. I have another one. You know what I mean? Like, living in that abundance so you don't get emotional or you don't feel bad and yuck. Like, you spend a lot of time on that Australian chick and then, boom, nothing.
Which story was that? I can't remember that one. Which video?
Nah, it was this African Australian chick. We never met up, but I had matched with her when I was in Australia and I was leaving. So we stayed in touch. She was a baddie, yo. She's like a 10 in my eyes, right? She's like a 10 out of 10. And we kept staying in touch. And we would like video chat, and then all of a sudden COVID hit. So I was gonna fly down there again. And I couldn't, what happened. I don't know what's going on in Australia. You can't even access it.
Show.
Yeah, it's just like a whole mess out there. So I actually was talking to another girl before her, and we just stopped talking because it was no point. Like, it was just like, how much can you video chat, right? So all of a sudden she hits me up out of nowhere. She's like, yo, I'm gonna go to Bali. You should come to Bali with me. And we start talking, and I don't know, she just flipped the switch. She was just talking to me a certain way, and I just didn't like it. And my thing is, like, I don't argue with women. I may disagree. So it wasn't like I was putting a lot of energy into her, because in between that time, I went to Brazil. I was in Mexico for six months. I was with T-Bob, and you can see all the girls that's in the videos. I'm living my life, so I don't think I was if anything, I didn't put any stock into her. It was just that when that happened, I was like, I want to make a video about it, because podcasts are therapeutic. Me making that video was right off the cuff of that happening. So for me, that was therapeutic. If I actually lay down a timeline of me talking to her, I actually really didn't talk to her for a long time that whole year. Like, we would talk maybe every 3 months. So I really put a lot of stock into it. It was just that when it happened, I was like, I'm gonna make a video about it. And
I'm talking the bigger picture, not necessarily you.
Yeah, for sure.
The situation, but like the best thing I ever heard was this. It was I don't think I can even say his name. Like, I'll tell you guys the name after that. But like, I think they went after him and like canceled him and all. But he basically said, you need to put your head into what like a 10 out of 10 woman head is like. Okay, these girls have more options than anyone in the world could ever imagine. You know what I mean? They could be flown out to Dubai tomorrow. They could go to Miami the next day, Vegas the next day, and they could do this from 18 to like 24. You know what I mean? And these women, like, their point of center, like, nothing flusters them. You feel me? Because they have it all. They can take whatever they want, when they want. They can use everything. Now, for dudes to get in that, like, mindset, we need abundance. You know what I mean? Like, we need so many girls, because, they're all flaky. A lot of them are flaky, and that's just what it is. And this is the problem I have, is, like, people get mad at that. It's like, what do you want me to be? Just a dork and wait on every whim for you and have you ditch me again? No, come on. Right. But the best thing I ever heard was like, okay, yo, if you were a 10 out of 10 chick, how would you react to this situation? That's key. If you can get in that mental frame and like fake it till you make it, I think you're set.
That's key. Yeah, it's funny, when I was in Budapest, I went out with this chick, and she was like, oh, you said the exact same thing to me as you said to my friend. And I was like, of course. And she was like, why don't you put more effort into gearing each message to the woman? I'm like, why would I do that? At the end of the day, why?
Copy paste.
So, but yeah, it's key, man. It's abundance mindset. You got to have a system in place, and you just got to do what's best for you, because at the end of the day, that's what they're doing for them as well. Like they don't care about you. These women do not.
T-Bob know how to roll.
Oh yeah.
T-Bob know how I be treated. I'll be moving around.
Well, my bad. T-Bob, you listened to that audio, right? I was talking about like literally 90% of my messages are the exact same to get them to get a drink. I copy paste everything. I do not put any investment into it. Like here's the thing though. If you get like a hot match, right? You get that 10 out of 10, the African Australian girl, you're like, oh my God. And you try to look at her Instagram, and then like you're like fantasizing in your head, oh, we're gonna do this, you're done. You lose the game already if you do that. You know what I mean? Like you need to literally separate yourself from, especially the dating apps. The dating apps is like streamlining. Like that's just like, a funnel and like sales. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the more you separate from investment, I think is key. Like outcome independence. That's what they all talk about in anything, money, life.
Exactly. The Rockstar lifestyle, essentially, right? And then that's something I really want you to get into, is like pretty much, and what you said in that audio was facts, man. It's like you're living a lifestyle that you're not saying you're going to live this for the rest of your life, but you're living it now so you won't regret it in the future. So I really want you to just break that down about what you mean about living the Rockstar lifestyle, and kind of why do you recommend other guys to do the same?
Because if you don't, then you'll always be thinking about it. You'll never appreciate what you got. So you settle it down. You have this beautiful wife. You have a kid at 25. 5-10 years go by. You're sitting on the couch and you're looking at the damn Bills arena, or you're looking at all these other people and be like, damn, like, am I happy? Like, did I make the right decision? I can't go back in time. I can't go experience that anymore. You can do some sugar daddy stuff maybe and whatnot, but it's over. You know what I mean? But if you can get it out of your system and see that it's not really as great as you thought it would be, it's not the end all be all, of course. It's not the total fulfillment there is. But if you can have those memories and that feeling of adrenaline and be like, yo, I did it. Now I can focus on this kid. I can focus on this beautiful lady. I can focus on business, my relationships, my parents, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. The word settling means like this is the best you can get. Like you're subconsciously telling yourself, like it's a fact. Like people, this whole social dynamics between men, women, men and men in life, like it's a big game, and it's not. We can put the mask on as a society and say that nothing is about power when everything is about power. You know what I mean? And everything you do is signaling, deep down in your animal brain and all that, like of what reality is. And yeah, you settle like, this is the best I can get. This is what it is. I made my decision. That is how it goes.
She's the best option out there. Is exactly what you're saying. Yep. that is key.
But not even about women though. Not like life, everything. You're settling.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just said, hey, I want to put my feet up and go with there. I have a question for you guys though. On this Rockstar lifestyle, and you brought up like the model thing. Models, in my opinion, are for sure the most like insecure woman. So if you have the balls to just go and even talk to them in person, like for the most part, you can win because they're not used to that at all. And number two, there's 3 points. Number two, they're terrible in bed. And number three, the makeup comes off. I shit you not, bro. It's
the drop points.
You need to do it to experience it. You need to do it to experience it. But you're like, wow, I fantasized about this. Like, it's a whole different game. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, man, I honestly don't even like the model look really, because when you, like you said, when you really look closely at a model, it's not anything special. Like, it's really not anything special. And they're very shallow people, generally speaking. Like, there's not much conversation there because their entire life has been pretty much benefiting off of their look.
I got 2 stories, man. How do I do this? All right, so there was this Turkish model.
I'm gonna grab a beer. I'll be listening on the AirPod.
Yeah, it's this Turkish model. I forgot her name, and she's like a really famous Turkish model. I think this is
It wasn't T-Bob Psycho Girl, was it?
Nah. Hold up. Let me look it up real quick.
Jesus Christ. Actually, she is a model. That's funny that you said that. Wow.
Her name was Didion Soydan or whatever. And I matched with her on Tinder in New York. And her gay best friend saw me and was like, yeah, him. So that's how she picked me. Went on a date. The date was fine. It was great. She was very like gypsy like. She was all about spirits and all that stuff. So we hooked up. We had a good time, and we started hooking up for like weeks. Didium Sodan, and I was looking at her name up because at the time she had like 500,000 followers, right, on Instagram, and so we started hanging out and everything, and we would go out, and her friends would be like famous directors from Turkey. Her best friend was like a famous makeup artist, and she's like an actual model. She was in Vogue, and it was crazy. I did nothing wrong. Everything was perfect. And she was like, yeah. Meet me at this club one night. And I was like, cool. Just let me know where the address is. So let's say 10 o'clock. I'm supposed to meet her. 10 o'clock rolls around. I'm like, yo, where is she? I never hear from her. So I'm like, all right, I don't want to be that guy and be thirsty over her. 11 o'clock rolls around, nothing. 1 o'clock rolls around, 2 o'clock rolls around. She has a story on her Instagram. She's with another black guy, and they are loving up on each other. And I'm like, what the hell just happened now? So the next day, she hits me back, and I'm like, yo, what happened? Like, what's going on? And she said some crazy excuse. Next thing you know, we're arguing, and she's like, I'm crazy.
Oh, really?
She's like, oh, you're crazy. You're going to start stalking me now and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I was really hot, man. I was so hot. This happened about a good 7 years ago.
That's a shit test, buddy.
And I told my boy, he was like, yo, man, leave that girl alone, man. And that was pretty much it. We had that argument, and that ended. And that was one of the biggest models I ever dealt with. And the thing about it was, she probably had no care in the world that she did that to me. Exactly. She had no feeling. She was like a robot, like cold. And from that point on, I was like, okay, I'm never gonna put a stock in a woman like that. Like, I'm never gonna be like in a situation where my expectation is gonna be so high that the next day, if that happened to me again, I'm gonna be like, that's how women are. But I'm not rocking with her no more, though. You know what I mean? Like, let's please believe it. I'm not rocking with her no more. So that was one model I dealt with. And that was one story. Another story is I went to Brazil.
Can I comment on that? Can I comment on that quick though?
Yeah.
That's you made some good points. I was talking to T-Bob about how, like, I think a lot of people get mad at womanizers or people that see many girls, but it's like, we were made this way. You know what I mean? Like,
I tell T-Bob that all the time.
We've had with women.
Yeah.
This is what happened to us, and the key though is to, like, you got to be able to, like, let go of the anger, because then you go down these deep paths where it's just like you hate women, right? And you're misogynistic and all that. But like, this is what happens to people like us. Like, we experience it and we get drilled in the face so many times and slapped. It's like, this is kind of why we move the way we do, we operate the way we do. But I want to make like a distinction though. It's like, I love women. People think like the way we're talking is that, you know, we're bashing them and all that stuff. Even all the crazy crap that's happened to me because of my relationships with girls, I still 100% love them. I love the energy, but I'm not blind. You can't be blind, or you're going to self-destruct. You're going to blow up. And this is just learning life and not believing, you know, fairy tales and whatnot. But that's a great story. That'll hit you deep in the subconscious. Bro. And it's not their fault, bro. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. This is like biological, like
Yeah, it's all
inside. Some people are evil. Some people are evil, but like this is just, she's a 10 out of 10 model, bro. Like you mean nothing to her. She's got more abundance in the world, and that's just how they operate. Maybe she thought it was like no big deal.
Yeah,
Exactly.
of course.
Oh.
Yep.
Yep. Facts.
And it was crazy because we had took a picture together and I posted on my Instagram. Bro, let me tell you, all the girls that I didn't hear from in the past, all the girls that was ghosting me, they come out of nowhere like, yo, you're dating a famous Turkish model that's in Vogue magazine. Because if you go to her profile, her pictures are like in magazines. She's in this place and that. And if you type her name up, Gideon Sordan, like she is in movies and all this other stuff. So everybody was hitting me.
She did you a favor. She actually gave you more than you thought, for sure.
Yeah, she gave me more stock. So my stock risen because I was with her at that time for those couple of weeks. And yeah, man. But I came away with the lesson. But here's my second story. Brazil. Going back to T-Bob asked me what's my favorite places. I think Brazil knocked out Scandinavia for me. So put Scandinavia 4, and Brazil kind of gets third place with Vancouver and Australia. I don't know, for some reason, Australia is like number one still to me for some reason. I think it's the language thing. So here we go. All right. Now, she's never going to see this, right? Because we're deep into the podcast. We're hours.
Yeah, they ain't gonna watch this much.
She ain't gonna see it, right? And when I'm telling this story, T-Bob's gonna know. He's gonna know who I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I already know.
In my eyes, she's a 10 out of a 10, right? Baddie. We've been talking for months leading up to the trip, and I'm like, I swear to God, man, I'm gonna be full transparency. I'm like, yo, she looked like my wife, bro. Like if I could just physically if I could do like weird science and like type in like the prototype, I'm like, yo, physically, aesthetically, she looks like my wife, right? So anyway, we meet up, we have a first date, knock it out of the park. There's nothing else I could have done perfectly right. It was a 10 out of 10 date. We had a second date, perfect. Third date, perfect. Fourth date, perfect. T-Bob was like, yo, what's going on, man? You guys hanging out a lot. You caked up over there? Like, you know what I'm saying? Making little small jokes because, whenever he like repeats dates, I'm always like poking fun at him. He's poking fun at me. So, we have like at least 6 dates in.
Wait,
are you guys sleeping together yet or no?
Oh yeah. We definitely slept together many times. Everything's perfect. Dates is perfect. Sex is amazing. I'm vibing. She's like, yo, she's like, I'm thinking I'm falling in love with you. She's telling that to me. She's like, what's gonna happen if you go to the States? What am I gonna do? And I was like, yo, I reassured her. I was like, don't worry, I'm gonna come back in October. You know what I mean? I'm coming back. I'm working remotely. What me and T-Bob is doing is working. I'll be back. And she was like, all right, okay, cool. So to make the long story short, one evening, T-Bob was in a room and we had a disagreement. We had our first disagreement, but she speaks English, but her English on the scale of 1 to 10 is a 5. So when she says things, I interpret it differently. And she said some things to me, and I was like, yo, why would you say that? And I kind of like dismissed her. I kind of kicked her out the place. I kicked her out my place, but respectfully. It wasn't like I was yelling at her.
Okay.
I wasn't calling her name. I was like, listen, it sounds like you don't want to be here, and I don't want that type of energy around me right now. Like, and she was like, I want to be here, but I was like, it doesn't feel like it. I think you need to go. So she left. At the end of the cusp of it, my last day in Brazil. Well, my last night in Brazil. We're all hanging out.
It's a rough story. This part. It's
We're all
rough.
hanging out, right? And I'm like, yo, so you're gonna come back with me to the spot? Because we already, we're already doing stuff. We already had sex millions of times or whatever the case may be. And she's like, nah, I'm not gonna come back with you. I gotta go, I'm gonna go something about her sister. Like at that point when she said no, I didn't hear anything else she said. It was kind of like, you know how it's a war movie in slow motion, like someone like
Yeah.
shoots a gun and like grenades get thrown. Like you just hear a ring noise. Everything's in slow motion. Like that's how I felt was to me when she said that. I was like, okay, it's my last night and you don't want to spend it with me like all the way. And then because I've been in those past situations, I immediately I flipped the switch and I was like, okay, I don't care. This is not going to affect me. I don't care. I turn around, she gives me a kiss, and she's like, I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you. In my head, I'm like, whatever. That doesn't mean anything to me. I kid you not. I walk away with T-Ball. Me and T-Ball walk away. I turn around, she's dancing, doing TikTok dances.
What song? What trend?
And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. You said you miss me. It's my last night in Brazil. You're supposed to be sad. She's dancing as I walk away, doing TikTok dances. And I'm like,
Oh, that sucks.
I'm like, what the? So the thing about this is not even over yet. So I go back to the States. She's hitting me up. We're hitting each other up back and forth. She's like, I miss you. I don't say it back. I basically tell her, hey, that's great. We should video chat. We video chatted. She's like, I miss you. I missed all the great sex we had. And she said it in a way like that was the best sex she ever had. Well, I gave her the best sexual experience, right? And she's like, I want to come to New York. And I'm like, I'm not in New York. I'm in Greece. And she's like, oh, okay. So when do you when do you come back to New York? And I'm like, I don't know. So the end of the story is basically that I'm still talking to her, but because of the past experiences I had with women and because of what she did that night, that will always be cemented in my head that she did something like that. So she could tell me she misses me. She can give me, I can go back to Brazil. She can give me all the sex in the world. She would do a whole lot of things for me to like change the way I look at her now.
Exactly. Oh,
So like,
Hey, this is life. This is life now.
yeah, it's crazy,
This is
man. It's crazy. So
Tinder, Instagram, bro.
Yeah,
It's
man.
like I think it's undone the mask. Like we're real human nature now. Like the monogamy is done. The traditional way of life is done, and you need to adapt, or you're gonna get left behind. You can't sit and cry, and it's not fair. It's not this and that. It's men and women's fault. Men more. It's men's fault more. But what are you gonna do? You either capitalize on it, like the dying of America, or you sit in your room and you cry. You know what I mean? And you jerk off to.
And it goes back to that what you said on the audio the other day, that story you told about. I don't know if you want to tell it on this show or not. We could send the people over to your audio, but that's kind of similar in a way, kind of the same idea, right? You went through all of this, but you learned from it, right? You learned like, yo, this is human nature, right? This is what women are about. But yeah, he told a great story on your experience. That was through Italy, right? That was in Italy. Right?
Yeah. Oh, Zurich, Milano, Como, and Portofino.
That's a crazy story.
Yeah, bro. That was a week of extreme highs, extreme lows, bro. Dude, it just kept going. And then I forgot parts of that story. Like I was meeting this one kid who was a family of a famous Venezuelan banker in Portofino with his girlfriend. He invited me to shit. Then I met this other couple that had a home in Lugano. That like I think he wanted me to, what, with his wife. I mean, bro, the story I told, I forgot parts of it too. Like it was just like out of the Matrix. Know what I mean? Like you got to hear the story, man. It was. I think I'm gonna release it next week. Like it just encompasses this lifestyle, like Rockstar highs and lows. Like if you can't take the lows, if you can't take these two models, literally taking your heart, ripping it out and destroying it, then you don't deserve any of the highs. You don't deserve to be with them in the first place. A great quote is like, if you want to date like the top women, I'm not trying to be superficial, but like the tens, right? The beauty and the models or the whatever, like. You need to learn how to drive a Ferrari. You can't be able to only drive a little Toyota car and then think you can get in a Ferrari because you're gonna go flying off the edge. You're gonna fly into the unknown. You know what I mean?
Hey man, that happens every trip. Go ahead.
And the reason why I told those two stories is because they both affected me the same way, but because I went through the first model. And I learned from those mistakes and I learned how to manage my feelings or my emotions or whatever. The second one didn't affect me. Because that didn't affect me, she's still in my life. She still is an option.
Yeah, see.
She's telling me, I miss you.
Because you could handle the Ferrari.
Exactly. And that's why I told those two stories. I messed up on the first one and I learned on the second one. And I still had the second one. So
Exactly, man. But the highs and lows, man, that is key, man. Because every trip, let's say I'm going to a place for a month. The first week is hot. Second week, I'm like, damn, what's going on? Just pushing through, man. Pushing through the highs and the lows. We all go through them. I don't care how good looking you are, how much money you have, how much game you have. Everybody's gonna go through it. Simple as that.
But dude, I'll tell you what though, a key for anyone that wants to do this life or experience what we're talking about is they all say it, the red pill people. You need a purpose outside of women. You know what I mean? You need to be doing stuff because then you can handle all the
handles and that attracts women. Right? Women can sense guys who are just out there for women. They can sense that. They can sense that. They like if you're hitting them up all day. Like I don't really message women throughout the day, right? I hit them up in the evenings because they want to know that you're doing other things outside of just hitting them up. Simple as that.
I got a couple other things I want to talk to you guys about actually. And I don't have a date for about 2 hours. I'm gonna be on this beach and chilling. Oh, hey, I can show you the view. Look at this room right here, baby.
Bro, that's sick, bro. That is right.
Hey, here's my bedroom view.
Damn, bro. Guess how much he's paying? Well, guess how much he's paying for that?
Yeah, yes. Hey, remember it's high season. Yeah, no. I'm doing daily rate too. It's high season. And there's no places on the island that have any availability. Guess how much I pay for this?
And remember how much I was paying in Florianopolis too. It wasn't cheap.
Yeah, you was paying a grip. 40? 40 a day?
20.
Damn,
20.
man. That's amazing, bro.
I know. Normally it'd be like 10 a day I could get it for.
Damn.
And I got the kitchen, I got the bathroom, I got the extra bed, I got the view, I got the one bedroom. Beautiful.
Internet seems to be fine too, right? You're on the Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, streaming,
better than my other place too. I've had two places here. One in Central for a month. One here's a good tip too for some people if they do the solo travel. I do Airbnb hotel, but if I get lonely and whatnot, go to like a hostel for a day or two or whatever. You can meet all the crazy people and whatnot, and get leads or meet dude friends, which is something I've really started to try to do more because if you only hang around women, bro, it's dangerous. Not necessarily them, but you need the balance. You need bros to talk to. That's why I'm liking this right now. But I was staying underneath a hostel. It was literally probably one of the best views I've seen in Floripa. It was right next to the canal and the ocean, and it was really hip. I paid $400 for that for a month, but I also got breakfast made every day, laundry, cleaning. I didn't pay for like supplies, right? Because they have like the water, the toilet paper, shit like that. And then I told you in Central, I got the big apartment for $440, but that was off Airbnb. But here's what I really wanted to ask you guys, and I think this could help out some dudes that don't have like the good Instagram, because I've been off social media for a long time. I had to make a little Facebook for my professional thing, and I don't have Instagram. I don't use it. I don't use it for dating, any of that shit. Nowadays, that's what everyone uses, right? But a lot of dudes don't. T-Bob, you got a good look at Instagram. I haven't checked out yours, bro, but you can use that. You put the hot girl on the Instagram, and all the other girls come and get you, and all that shit. It's social proof. It's status, correct? A lot of dudes don't have that. And if you send the girl on Tinder or if you meet them in person, they never want to give you the number first, right? They say, hey, oh, what's your Instagram? I'll take the Instagram. Well, if you do that, you're in competition with a million other dudes. And not just that, attention. Because when she goes on Instagram, she's not just looking at messages. She's looking at photos, liking, doing all that kind of stuff. I always do this, okay? So this is a tip for you guys listening. I say, hey, hola, I just moved here. I like your vibe. Let's get a drink, smiley, whatever. I try to get as quick as I can to get the number if we're talking dating apps. And they say, oh, no, like add me on Instagram, or what's your Instagram? And I say, currently, I'm doing a social media cleanse, a 60-day social media cleanse. It doesn't finish till next month or blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, no, that's kind of cool. Like you're not consumed with the socials and whatnot. But I think it's very important. You want to get to the number. The number is personal. The number is there. And unless you have a good Insta profile, but even if you do, you're in way more competition, I think.
I agree. That's why me personally, I don't put my Instagram on like my Tinder profile or Bumble, because it's just another thing you give them to find something wrong.
Disqualified.
Yeah. So I give the least, like, bro, I have 3 pictures on my Tinder. Like I put only 3 pictures, least amount of pictures as possible. I don't show anything else. I don't say too much about myself, because all they're doing is just nitpicking, The less you give them, the better. Simple as that. When it comes to dating, so unless you have 1 million followers or whatever, you're some famous person, right? Obviously, that's going to help, but 99% of the time, that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, I put my Instagram on my all my stuff, but I think the way I do it is I attract the content makers. I just straight up say, hey, I'm a content maker. We have a podcast. So if a girl is, most of those girls on there are trying to get followers anyway, right? So I've gotten a lot of girls hit me up like, yo, I see that you got a podcast. What is it about? And I've gotten a lot of leads for girls to come on the show from that. So I use it for a different reason, but I don't know. I still do fairly well on a dating aspect as well. So I don't know.
You sound like who were those? Fresh and Fit. They with all the sugar daddy websites and all that, they get the girls on there and they're banging like all the girls, I guess. They went through a lot of trouble though recently, I heard.
Oh,
no.
What
I'm talking about?
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying like bang the gas, but I'm just saying that I use it to
to bang the gas.
yeah. I use it to get like leads for hosts or guests. Because a lot of girls on there, particularly the girls that got Instagram handles or the models, they just want to be seen. They want to get that attention. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna help you with that. I'm gonna help you, help me, help you get attention. So,
and I would say it also depends on where you are, right? Places like Eastern Europe, they don't like guys who are like on Instagram heavily, because they're not used to that. Their culture, their guys are not out there just on Instagram, taking selfies and like, looking like a model and stuff like that. That's actually very unattractive to them. Whereas places like Latin America, Western Europe, it might be a little bit different. So I think it all depends on where you're going. It's very different. Because I've seen a lot of women in Eastern Europe say like in their bios, no Insta boys, stuff like that. So,
I never saw that before.
Yeah. And like some of these chicks you'll see a 10 out of 10, and she'll like tag her boyfriend or whatever, and he'll have like 2 pictures up, right? 2 pictures, 50 followers. Like they don't care about that. So
well, that's the key though. Like the baddest girls you're gonna get are from during the day and having the balls to go up to them and talk to them. That's your dating apps will be on par with you or lower than you. You'll barely ever go past your value, whatever it is. But day game, that's what they call it. If you have the cojones to go up to a pretty girl in the street, that's where the magic happens. That's where all my the models and the beautiful women have came from. I mean, dating apps to me is like a funnel, abundance funnel. So this person ditches, okay, I got this. Know what I mean? Here it's been ridiculous, like the dating apps here, because the gringo thing and whatnot helps. But dude, go up to women and learn how to speak with them. And I think and even if they reject you, dude, so many times I've been just totally my ego taken out, thrown on the ground, stomped on, but you learn from it. Know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with going up to a girl and be like, hey, excuse me, I know this is kind of random, but do you speak English? Oh, a little. I wanted to say you look very nice today. I love these pants. These pants are so like studious, and you look like you're on your way to class. And it's funny, like I approached you because you really reminded me of my friend. When I was living in Copenhagen, she was becoming a lawyer. She'd always wear the little blazer. She had the glasses on, and during the week, that's all she did was just go to work and study. But holy fuck, when the weekend came, it was a whole different person. We'd be in the club together, and she would run it. And we were partying like it was, crazy. Is that like you? Do you do that kind of on the weekend? Take the mask off and let go? It's over. Know what I mean? Like
that is game 101.
Yeah, you can ask T-Bob, man. You can ask T-Bob, man. I'm more it's really weird. My actual strength is like talking in person, day gaming and stuff, because my background is I spent most of my adult life in New York, and the way we talk to women is all about talking in person, man. Like we used to go to the clubs every weekend, and it would be a bunch of us, 5 of us. And be like, how many numbers you get that night? And be like, oh, I got 10. I don't know what you get. And I always get the least amount of numbers because my friends were like sharks, but then like they were like grooming me to be a shark. And then all of a sudden, I started traveling. And then when I came back, we would go back into the clubs, and I would go after no numbers. I would talk to nobody. And they're like, yo, what's wrong with you? I'm like, yo, you have no idea. I just went to a place where the girls came up to me, and they were like, what? I was like, yeah, I was in Sweden one time, and 7 girls came up to me, and they were attractive. And they're like, nah, man, you're kidding me, man. You bullshitting me. I'm like, yeah. So it was kind of like so when I started traveling, it was a cultural shift in the way I approach women, but I always had it in my back pocket. Like you could ask T-Bob, when we was in Brazil on the beach, I was back in my element. And like, you ask this man, I was like, yo, you see these 2 girls? If they give us a look, I'm going over there.
That's what they do in Brazil too. They smile at you.
Yes, yeah. You get the biggest choosing signals anywhere in the world that I've experienced. Yeah, because like you can't do that in Eastern Europe.
You gotta go in there. You gotta go in there and take 3 minutes of like either silence or like her. Like, oh, what do you do? Who are you? Where are you from? Like they'll attack you, but then once you crack the shell, they're the most like loyal, like loving, like woman ever. Like they'll die for you.
You have to crack the shell.
That's true.
That is the key. That is the key. Them as well as like Argentinian women are the same. You just gotta crack that shell. And then have you ever experienced Nick with much Argentinian women?
Yeah, in actually Playa del Carmen, there's an enclave of Argentinas, and my neighbor. When I was living Colonial Hollywood. If anyone wants to go to Playa del Carmen, stay in Colonial Hollywood. It is the best, most vibey place off 20th by Papa Charlie's and little cute little places. Cafe Orange.
Papa
and
Charlie's.
So I was at the pool. I had like this beautiful apartment. I think it had two balconies, 1 bedroom, completely just redone. And I was on the top floor. Then you could go on the top. Everything in Playa del Carmen's about having the rooftop. And in the backyard, they share a little pool with the surrounding apartment things, I paid $500 a month for that, and it was high season. So I was down by the pool. I was just like chilling out, whatever. And then there's a girl swimming. I saw her beforehand. So I'm like, I'm just going to chill by the pool and, see what happens. And she gets out of the water and she throws her hair back, whatever. And I ran that same thing I just told you about, not the same lines, but then me and her developed a little thing, and she was really into the whole, open sharing thing. And it was great. Very nice people, really, really friendly people. It's too bad what's happening to their country now. Their money, It's not good. They're very Italian too.
Yeah, that is true.
T-Bob would like if you like Argentinian and like for the listeners, like if you get this far on the podcast, if you like Argentinian women and you go to Playa de Carmen, this is a place called Maui. I had a friend of mine, he's a photographer. He used to have events there all the time, and he would like come through. And every time I come through, I'll just see like 100 Argentinian women, and they all got like short shorts, tiny little things on, and they just dancing like they're in their own world, and they all bad. I'm just like, what is going on? It's like a subculture. So if you like Argentinian, I forgot to tell you about this, T-Bob. This place called Maui.
Is that on the beach?
Nah, it's not on a beach. It's kind of like off of Fifth Ave.
Okay.
And they play house music, a little bit of techno.
Bar Loco, Fifth Avenue, baby.
Oh, Bar Loco, yeah, that's my spot.
That's the spot.
That's my spot.
I bring every girl there because like the drinks are super cheap. You got the view. You can bring them on the balcony or whatever. And sometimes I like you bring them to the same spot because then you get to know the bartender and all the people. And then when you come in there, they're like, "Oh, Nick," and you already get that like, "Oh, who am I with?" Like the girl's like thinking like, "Okay, this dude's either brought a lot of girls here or he's like, he has pull."
Exactly.
Yeah, I took a date there once, and T-Bob took a date there once. We were, that's the spot, man.
Hey, I got some more. I love practical value. That's my shit too on Bold Perceptions, practical action. And my bad cutting you off. I'm just energized. I'm in Brazil. I'm feeling the vibes. But listen, you dudes, do this on a date every single time, and I promise you, you can thank me. Write a review on my podcast or do something. Okay. So you're in the dates, wherever, at a bar or whatnot. You say, "Hey, we're gonna play a game." You don't ask, "Hey, do you want to play a game?" No, you say, "Hey, we're gonna play a game." "Oh, okay. What are you gonna play?" Say, "Put your phone on the table." I hope you guys know this. And she's like, "Okay, I'll put my phone there." Okay, first person that looks at their phone, they pay for the drinks. If nobody looks at their phone, we split the bill. Oh, okay. And girls, they can never not keep the phone. Actually, I've learned that they can. And then you have these great conversations and you develop more than, sitting over here on the phone and whatnot. But do this. Every dude here listening to this, do the phone game and you'll have great results.
Delane, have you done that before? I've never done that before. I could see you doing that, Delane. I could see you.
Why you say that?
I don't know. I just could see it, bro. I could see it. I have
crazy tactics.
I might do that this weekend, but it makes sense.
Nah, I haven't done anything like that. I've done something similar, but not like that. Nah, not like the way he did it. I've done something with the phone though.
Yeah. Okay.
So that way,
you put it on silent. You put it on silent.
I did something in a way that like, okay, I have this thing where I actually did this with a Dominican girl. We was in Brooklyn, and she had a fat butt and really pretty.
He's like, throw that in.
So we're sitting down, and the game was, she sends me a picture. She has to go to the bathroom, and she has to send me a picture of whatever she wants.
Oh,
and then I do the same thing. So she went to the bathroom. She sent me a picture of her ass naked, and it was big. And I was just like, okay. And I sent her a picture. It was nothing. I think I sent her a picture.
Oh, like a joke? Yeah.
My tongue or something. And pretty much after that, we just went to her apartment after that. Because it was like,
bro, that's smooth.
She gave me the green light. She's if a girl, like, all right, it's like a test. You're testing a girl's level of interest. Depending on what you want to do within a date, that's on you. But I did it 5 minutes within a date because I felt the energy, and I was like, "Yo, let's play a game. You go into the bathroom, take a picture, whatever you want, and then I do the same thing, and then we show it at the same time." She showed at the same time. I was like, "Check, please," and then we just laughed and went to her place.
Everybody said, "Let's go."
Swear to God.
Let go.
So,
dude, dudes don't understand this. If a girl goes out on a date with you from Instagram or a dating app, they've chosen you out of hundreds and hundreds of dudes. In their mind, they basically made up, "I'm going to sleep with this dude." Like, okay, that's it. Yeah.
This is
what I do. Okay, after whatever, and it happens, the situation with the girl, I ask them, when did you know that you were gonna do the deed, correct? And 90% of them say, when I first saw you, or when I talked to you after 5 minutes, and I realized like you were where you weren't crazy, you weren't any of this crazy stuff. So like that basically tells you, if they come on the date, bro, they want to sleep with you, and it's you that talks yourself out of it. Know what I mean?
Just gotta make the move. That's it.
And most times the guy's the leader. He should be, and he leads his way out the pussy. He pretty much leads his way.
True.
Like she could be like, "Yo, I want to go," and this guy is trying to be knightish on the armor.
No, let's hold hands first. Let's.
He could be like, "All right, let's go to another location." Meanwhile, if you use like something like your game, or like one of my tactics, where it's like, I got a game, go into the bathroom, take a picture, whatever you want. I'll do the same.
That's dope.
And you could just get it, like, depending on what she sends you, just go, like, it's go time after that, right? So
you see, you're the king of games, Delane. That's why.
I think a lot of dudes
always on these games.
I think a lot of dudes though, like, subconsciously don't want to get laid, or they're nervous, or they're insecure.
Yeah.
Like they're stopping themselves from, like, people get this idea that like women are like this innocent bird, like they're just as crazy as us dudes. Know what I mean? Like that's just what it is.
Yeah, they want it as much as us too.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's like my whole point of all these messages. Like, this is who we are. And the moment we start saying like, okay, this is who I am, step into it, like you'll be better off, instead of trying to be like, oh, let me put my mask on and be a good church boy and do all this. Like, be who you are. It's simple.
Those guys get ran the F.
I mean, me and T-Bob have different approaches. So it's like the thing is like, I remember when we were in Mexico City, and not to like disclose his information, his business, but I know on my end, we were having high traffic, and let's just say, even his approach is different from mine, but we still had the same amount of high traffic. So there's different ways to go about it, and like, he's being true to himself, I'll be true to myself. And, yeah.
I try the most politically correct way.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with being a sexual person. I think it's just, especially nowadays, it's just what it is, and we got to quit like shaming this in both sides. Like, it is what it is. Like, but here's the thing: it's different though, because a dude, like, we can't just flip on Tinder and have 100 girls come over here tonight. Mm-hmm. A girl, even if she, on our little scale, people like to do a 5, a 6, could have 100 dudes tonight. Like, these are facts, right? They did the Tinder statistics about guys swiping right and girls swiping right, and it was extreme, super extreme. So like, for dudes, we have to like build our value and actually look presentable and speak decent and not be an idiot. And for women, like, it's just what it is. Like, sperm is cheap, eggs are expensive. This is biology. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny you say that, because I remember when we were like, T-Bob was like, yo, we're going to Brazil, so we had a date marked down, right? Because I don't want to speak for him, but I have a bad habit of doing getting tickets late, like not planning ahead of time. So I was like, okay, it's March. I'm just saying hypothetically, it's March, and the plan is to go in April. So what I do is I look at how much I weigh, and I look at how much I've been in the gym, and I know I'm gonna go to the beach. I know I'm gonna go to a hot area. I know I'm gonna go to a tropical area, and body fitness is important. So what I do is I know for myself my fighting weight, and when I mean fighting weight, I know what weight I need to be in a space of like my ultimate confidence comes out, because I'm feeling good. I'm like, my fitness is on point. I know what that fighting weight is, right? So I don't know if women think like that. I don't know if women are like, oh, I'm about to go on this trip. You know what I mean? Let me maximize myself the best way I can to get the most amount of men.
bro. Every photo is edited on Instagram. They have their diets. They know exactly. Women are
Oh, they do
masters
the
at
same thing too.
the male gaze.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking
I
about the
think, yeah,
average girls. I'm talking about the average girls. Like we were talking about 5 and 6s, because they're gonna
I give you
be.
that for America. For America, I'd say that. But a lot of other places, bro, people are trying to look their best, in my opinion. What I've seen, especially
Yeah,
women, because
yeah,
I think it's more understood in undeveloped countries about how important beauty is for
mm,
women. It's like the mothers teach them that, hey, you need to look good to get the man the security. Like that's what happens. Like the old traditional ways type deal. And so they're this is what I got. Sadly, this is a reality. Don't shoot the messengers. You know what I mean? Like that's just kind of what it is.
right,
That's all it is.
right.
That's facts. That is
So
beyond facts.
whenever we plan to go to like even Tulum, like Brazil, I'm like, damn, all right, shoot, I gotta be a certain. I know what my fighting weight is. I'm like, shit, I gotta be there before I get there. So,
Right, bro. Man, when you coming back to Tulum, man, where's your next trip?
When Vegas, yeah, they do a little van thing back to Minnesota, and then I actually signed with the team in Poland. So I'm going to Poland February until the season ends, and I think I'll Mediterranean for the summer, and I hope to be in Thailand next time around this year.
Going back to Europe in the summertime as well.
Bro, if you guys come in the summer, meet up with me, bro.
Yeah, bro. I think we'll definitely have to connect
La
up there.
Dolce Vita. I'll show you La Dolce Vita.
Once again, thanks for flying with Foreign Strategies. Make sure you subscribe.